And hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest edition of Yankees Hot Stove. Bob Lorenz and Jack Curry with you, along with Bob Clappish of the Bergen Record and FoxSports.com, as we sort through all the news, rumors, and internet chatter out there, as always. And we always start with the Yankees. Lately, Jack, we've always started with Andy Pettitte and his status, and nothing's really changed except that Brian Cashman made a few comments about Andy this week. So clear that up for us.
Right. Brian Cashman was asked about Andy Pettitte probably for the 8,000th time this offseason, and he said that he meant to say the same thing, that Pettitte is considering retirement. The Yankees don't expect him to pitch in 2011, but he used the words to start 2011. So some people took that to mean that maybe Cashman was saying that Pettitte would join the Yankees mid-season, as Clemens has done in the past with the Yankees. Cashman later had to backtrack and say that's not what he meant. But, Bob, as we look at spring training about a month away for pitchers and catchers, you have to wonder that even if Andy decided tomorrow that he wanted to pitch, how close to being ready would he be?
You're absolutely right, Jack. I mean, there's one thing you need to know about Andy Pettitte, and that he has historically been fanatical about being in shape, being ready from the first day of pitchers and catchers. In any other offseason, he would have been long tossing by now, and as we get into mid-January, he would already have been on a mound. The fact that he hasn't picked up a ball yet tells you exactly where his head's at, and right now, it just doesn't seem to be into baseball for whatever reason.
All right, so no new news on Andy, and obviously same old story for the starting rotation as it stands for the Yankees right now. So let's get to a question that will spur the next discussion. This is from Jonathan via Facebook. The Yankees have also recently been linked to Justin Duchscherer and Jeff Francis. A few other guys out there, too. Duchscher's name kind of popped up this week, Jack, but this is sort of that shake and bake philosophy, right? A bunch of guys in a bag, you shake it up, and does Duchscherer add anything to that mix?
Right, I talked to Brian Cashman a few days ago, and he said it's a very thin pitching market out there. When I look at Duchscherer, a guy who, yes, he's been a two-time All-Star, both as a starter and a reliever. You look at those numbers, but he's also a guy who didn't pitch at all in 2009, partly because of elbow surgery and partly because he battled clinical depression. So I think he's a guy who maybe popped up on the Yankees' radar, but I don't think he's high on that radar.
Any other name that jumps out at you? Again, we've heard the name Jeff Francis out there, but that started about a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, also Bartolo Colon, I think his agent, threw the name out there just to get some interest in his client. Kevin Millwood, maybe. I mean, look, there's not a lot out there. Jack is right. It's a very thin free agent market, and I think ultimately the Yankees are going to go to spring training with what they've got.
And bottom line, if you wanted one of these guys, Jack, you would have signed him, right? If one was head and shoulders above the other.
You absolutely would have signed that pitcher by now, and we could bat around a couple of the other names. Jeremy Bonderman was another name, and people rushed to say the Yankees are interested in him. I've had Yankee people tell me no shot. They're not going to sign Jeremy Bonderman. So I think you look at what the Yankees have right now and say, would they really go into the season with Nova and Mitre as 4 and 5? I think they could start spring training that way, but I still think that there's a way that Cashman will try and maneuver to get another pitcher in here.
All right, Brian Cashman also looking for that fourth outfielder, somebody to come off the bench, can be an impact hitter. And a couple names mentioned in the past, Johnny Damon, Andruw Jones. And this gets to a question from Anthony via Facebook, and he asks, how would Andruw Jones fit in with the team? Bob, what do you think?
I think it'd be a nice fit. I mean, Andruw Jones is not the player that he used to be. He's never going to hit 50 home runs again. But the Yankees are looking for a fourth outfielder, somebody who can catch the ball, play all three positions. Certainly he can play defense, and he's terrific against left-handed pitching. He can still hit the ball. He's Marcus Thames with better defense. I think you ultimately see Jones signing with the Yankees. I do.
Right, Bob, when you look at what he did against lefties last season, over a 900 OPS, which is his on-base percentage and slugging combined. Now, Marcus Thames, as Bob said, he gave the Yankees that offensively, but the Yankees always felt that when they put Thames out there defensively that they were just waiting for bad things to happen. Jones is not the guy who won 10 Gold Gloves. He's not that outfielder anymore, but if you look at the defensive metrics that judge a player's defensive ability, he's still a guy who you could put in left, right, or center and not be worried about him. So I agree with Bob. I think if you're looking for a fourth outfielder type, he's a guy who could fit in there nicely.
Now, I mentioned Johnny Damon because his name kind of popped back up on the radar this week. And again, that might have just been sort of that internet chatter that is Damon. Could he be a part of it? What do you think?
Well, I think Damon's out there because Scott Boras realizes he's running out of time. He's running out of teams. He's now saying, well, look, my guy is really popular with the fans. And you know when an agent starts saying that, it means he's running out of bullets, too. It's either going to be the Yankees or the Rays. I mean, Damon would be a nice fit because he's good in the clubhouse. He can hit some home runs in Yankee Stadium, and everybody loves him. Ultimately, though, I think Jones is a better pick.
And I think Damon is going to go where he can get the most at-bats, and I don't think that will be the Yankees. We see the numbers that he's put up. I did some quick math on what he did with the Tigers last year. He had 146 hits for the Tigers, but he had also over 600 plate appearances. I don't think that he will get that for the next 3 years, but if he averaged 146 hits over the next 3 years, he would end his career with 3,009 hits. Now, I don't think Johnny Damon is a Hall of Fame player, but I think in his mind, he's thinking that he's got to try and hang on, get as many at-bats as he can, try and get the 3,000 hits, put himself in the conversation.